Hey guys, Wet Movie 1 back here again for another Blu-ray DVD update video. It's been about 2 weeks since the last one. Give this video a thumbs up if you guys like my review videos. First up from Warner Brothers is The Conjuring here on... The Conjuring's pretty much about this family moving into this farmhouse back in 1971, and as soon as they arrive to their new house, their dog doesn't want to enter the front door, and of course all this paranormal activity stuff starts happening to the parents and the kids in the house. And the parents are like, oh my god, what are we going to do? We just got this new house. So they find these paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren, that go to their house to investigate, to try to find out why this house is being haunted and what demons are lurking about. This film really creeped me out. I even watched this film during the daylight and wanted to turn more lights on in the house. It was freaking me out that bad. Movies that have to do with like paranormal activity and like demons and things like that, like doors opening and closing. I know it's kind of stupid, but that kind of stuff kind of freaks me out just a little bit. But this movie was directed by James Wan, the director of Saw and the Insidious films and Dead Silence and things. He did a very good job with this film. Looks amazing on Blu-ray here, but it's also based on true events. Ed and Lorraine Warren are real paranormal investigators. They were one of the first people to investigate the Amityville horror house, and that's just really kind of cool to know. I didn't really know who they were. I didn't, until I saw this TV show called Paranormal State when I saw Lorraine Warren for the first time. That show always kind of freaks me out, like Ghost Hunters and, Paranormal State. Even though I know a lot of it's kind of like put on and things, but just like, letting my mind run wild and go kind of crazy thinking, what was that? Kind of a thing. But on this Blu-ray here, you get 3 featurettes. One with James Wan talking about how he wants to scare his audience, and a second one on here is a little mini documentary on Ed and Lorraine Warren and how they met and how they became paranormal investigators and things, and how it spanned 4 decades or 3 decades that they're doing this. It's just a really freaky movie with really cool special features on there. Recommended to all horror fans. Yeah, this movie is really kind of scary, so I'm just gonna put this down and don't look at me. Okay. Alright guys, next up is The Exorcist, the 40th anniversary edition here on Blu-ray. I don't really need to get into this film because a lot of you guys have watched it multiple times. It's about this little girl named Reagan who gets possessed by a demon, and her mom's like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? And then they call the priest in to try to vanquish the demon, But a lot of you guys were asking me, Brendan, is this worth an upgrade since Exorcist already came out on Blu-ray back in 2006. This new 40th anniversary edition Blu-ray has the same exact two Blu-ray discs that came in this edition. This one's actually signed by Linda Blair because I'm fly like that. But it's the same exact 2 discs that came in the 2006 version. But in this, you get a new bonus disc with 2 featurettes on there with William Peter Blatty taking you to the location where he wrote the novel of The Exorcist, and just showing you around and how as he was writing the book, he was visiting his mom in the old folks home back in the day, and just his different experiences writing the novel. And you also get like a memoir in here by William Friedkin, which is kind of cool, like a little mini book. And there's also the other special feature that's on the bonus disc here, is of a priest being interviewed about The Exorcist and how William Peter Blatty took a true story that he learned while he was in this one school when he was younger, and took it and made The Exorcist out of it. But the funny thing is about William Peter Blatty, before he wrote The Exorcist, he was writing like comedy books. It was comedy. He never wrote horror before, and this was his first venture into horror. But if you guys are a fan of, like I said, William Peter Blatty, it is worth an upgrade. But if you're just a casual fan of The Exorcist, you know what I mean? It's one of those things. But if you don't have the digibook that came out in 2006, definitely get this one because it has the theatrical cut and of course the original the extended cut of the film on here. But definitely get The Exorcist if you don't already have it on Blu-ray. It's a total buy. But next up right here is the Pacific Rim, here on Blu-ray, DVD, ultraviolet digital copy combo pack with a cool little lenticular cover. I'm a fan of Transformers. I'm a fan of Godzilla films, and it's just those two kind of genres of film being mashed together in this one. This one's directed by Guillermo del Toro, and I just love his visual style. You know, in this film, it's about these monsters named the Kaiju. And they're like coming up from the Pacific Ocean and attacking the humans. And after a while, the humans are like, what are we going to do to fight off these creatures? So the humans make these robots to go against these monsters coming from the sea, and they're called Jaegers. And the Jaegers are big like Transformer-like, machines that humans are running inside of the machine, kind of like the Power Rangers, how the Power Rangers will go inside the Megazords and things and move the arms from side to side. It's kind of like a mixture between Power Rangers, Godzilla, and Transformers, all mixed into one movie a little bit, But I really did like the visual style of this film. There's not really much story-wise going on in this movie. It's just pretty much robots fighting monsters. But this film was just really, really super fun. You get 14 featurettes on the making of this film, from like the beginning of stages of making the film to the end stages of making the film. Really, really in-depth behind the scenes stuff on here. But on Blu-ray, it's just amazing. The color palette that Guillermo del Toro uses in his films are just like really saturated with colors and blues and reds and like neon kind of lights and stuff. I really do like that. But if you guys are a fan of just like fun action popcorn flicks, definitely check out Pacific Rim here on Blu-ray. Alright guys, next up is The Wizard of Oz here on 3D Blu-ray. You guys know I'm a big fan of this film, and all my Blu-ray updates, you always see the 70th anniversary edition Blu-ray box set behind me. I've owned it on VHS multiple times, DVD multiple times. So pretty much every time this movie is going to be released, I'm going to be getting it, On this Blu-ray here, you get a new feature-length documentary on the making of the film, with interviews with the cast and crew members, and just taking you inside and how it was making this film back in the day, and how this film had multiple directors, and how the studio heads at the time didn't want Judy Garland to play Dorothy. They wanted Shirley Temple to play Dorothy at the time, because Shirley Temple was like the big kid star of that time. And I'm so glad that the director was really wanted Judy Garland for the role and stood his ground and said, I want her. You know what I mean? That was really kind of cool to know. Of course, there's little stories in there that we all know already, that Buddy Epson was going to play the Tin Man, but he shot for a couple of days, but he just couldn't handle the makeup, got him all sick and things like that. But there's also new things that they talk about in this feature-length documentary. The cameras that they were using back when they shot this movie were like 400, 500 pounds, and how fluid the motions would be when they were like going down the yellow brick road. But just knowing now, watching this documentary, that there was a whole bunch of guys moving a 400-pound camera back and forth, that's crazy, man. Because the camera I'm using now to shoot this isn't like not even a half a pound. You know what I mean? But if you guys are a fan of The Wizard of Oz, definitely check out this Blu-ray here, especially for that new documentary on here. You also get a new commentary track with some film historians talking about the film. Definitely get it if you guys are a fan of the movie. Next up right here from Sony is After Earth here on Blu-ray, starring Will Smith and Jaden Smith. This movie takes place 1,000 years in the future, where Earth has been kind of like overtaken, kind of like a desolate place that no one really inhabits anymore. And Will Smith and Jaden Smith play these like space rangers. Their spaceship crashes on Earth, breaks into two pieces. Will Smith hurts himself, so he can't travel. So he sends his son to go find the other part of the plane to find the beacon, so they can send their signal up to their people to let them know they're still alive and they're on Earth right now. But pretty much the whole movie is pretty much about Jaden Smith going on the adventure on Earth, trying not to get killed and trying to get that beacon, to save him and his father's life. I know this movie really got kind of shit on when it came out in theaters and stuff, and M. Night Shyamalan doesn't have the greatest movie track record, and Sixth Sense was cool, Unbreakable was cool, but like a couple of his other stuff is not the greatest. But this one, it wasn't bad, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't It wasn't amazing, but like I kind of had fun with this one. It was a nice little adventure film, kind of like an acting piece for Jaden Smith to use for his acting reel. He did okay. There's a couple of moments that he was kind of like over the top when he was kind of like crying or whatever a little bit. But this Blu-ray right here is actually mastered in 4K, so the colors are really vibrant, really kind of pop out at you. Really nice transfer on this film. It's a definite rental. I recommend you guys go out there and check it out. I don't know if you guys really need to go rush out there and buy it. Go out to your local video store and give it a rental. Next up from Inception Media Group is Complicity here on DVD. I actually really kind of like this film. It's about these group of high school friends that are throwing this party, and while their parents are away, and at this party something horrific happens, and it makes them all try to figure out what they're gonna do. Are they gonna blame each other for what happened, or are they gonna try to cover it up? It was a well-told story, but it kind of felt like it could have been a play. You know what I mean? I don't want to give away what happens in the film. It's just, a group of friends, something crazy happens at a party, makes them go, oh my god, what are we going to do about this? You know what I mean? It's one of those kind of things. It's more talking and more story-oriented than anything else. You know what I mean? I found it to be really entertaining, a little bit more entertaining than After Earth, to be honest with you. After Earth has more money put into it than this, but this one I was really kind of into the story, kind of like really into it. But if you guys see it out there, definitely give this one a rental also. Complicity here on DVD. Alright guys, next up from Time Life is the Dean Martin Celebrity Roast here, the collector's edition. In this pack here you get 12 celebrity roasts in here. You get the celebrity roast of Johnny Carson, Lucille Ball, Sammy Davis Jr., Jimmy Stewart. You get a lot of like celebrities of the time making fun of other celebrities, which is really kind of funny. If it wasn't for Dean Martin and these comedy roasts, we wouldn't have stuff like the Comedy Central roasts of like Bob Saget and David Hasselhoff and Roseanne and all that kind of stuff. If it wasn't for Dean Martin and his show that he had. But you get comics in there like Bob Hope, Don Rickles, Lucille Ball coming back at jokes with people, making fun of other people. It's just really funny. You guys all know comedy roasts is where a person or a celebrity goes there and sits there and everyone rags on them, But like some of the jokes in here are kind of dated, like we talk about like Ronald Reagan and things like that, because a lot of these roasts were like filmed early to mid 70s. Some of them are in the 80s a little bit. So some of the jokes are kind of dated. There are some really funny ones, like Don Rickles comes up with a lot of funny stuff. A couple of times Mickey Rooney says a couple of really, funny jokes in this. But you can get this at timelife.com. It's funny. There's a lot of funny stuff, but there's a lot of kind of like, I don't understand that joke because I wasn't alive yet kind of a thing. Well, that's the collector's edition of the Dean Martin Celebrity Roast here on DVD. Check it out if you guys are into, comedy roasts. Alright guys, next up is the Halloween 35th Anniversary Edition here on Blu-ray in this digibook. And I don't really need to tell you guys about the film. You guys already know it. You guys are all horror fans. Michael Myers coming around trying to get Jamie Lee Curtis. You guys know this film. But I want to talk to you guys about the special features that come on here, the new stuff. And you get a new audio commentary by John Carpenter and Jamie Lee Curtis on this Blu-ray, which is really kind of insightful that they get, dive into the making of the film and things like that and different experiences they had. And the really cool special feature on here is The Night She Came Home, the documentary about Jamie Lee Curtis going to her first and probably only horror convention to sign autographs and meet the fans. And they documented it. And it just shows her experience meeting the fans and how she's kind of a little bit crazy, when it comes to certain things, and how the convention that she went to, they overbooked it, and she kind of stayed there and signed autographs for every single person that came there for her. I knew a lot about this convention before this Blu-ray came out because my friends over at deadpit.com were actually at this event and made a video at this event talking about meeting Jamie Lee Curtis. There's a couple of other YouTubers. If you look really hard during that documentary, you see him in there, like Wes Vance from Dead Pit. Ryan 1988 is in there for a quick second, like you see his, behind his head and things like that. But it was actually a really cool documentary to see because I love horror conventions and just conventions in general. And making a documentary about a celebrity that I really like and following her around and getting her experience while she's at one of these conventions for the first time was actually really kind of cool. But you also get the TV version footage on here, which they already had a TV version cut of the film that came out on DVD. I don't know why they just added the footage on here. So if you guys have like other editions of Halloween on DVD and things like that, and you want to get like all the special features, you might want to keep the other editions of them, but definitely get this one for the new commentary track and for the Night She Came Home documentary. It was really, really good, really good. Alright guys, next up from Anchor Bay is Embrace of the Vampire here on Blu-ray, the unrated version. I've seen this movie before, but I think it was the one starring Alyssa Milano from like the mid-90s or something. But in this one, it's about this girl named Charlotte. She's coming from this all-girls school to finally go to a co-ed college, to study, to become smarter. But as soon as she goes to this college, she starts to have these visions and dreams of like just over-the-top horror, and she's trying to figure out what is going on here. And plus she has this weird blood condition that she has to take pills for. And one day while she's at work, this one lady, psychic lady, comes up to her and says, "I need you to talk to me. I need you to come to my place to talk to me." And she's like, "What for?" Then you come to find out she has a dark past. Her family, blah blah. You have to watch the movie to find out. It's pretty self-explanatory with the title here, but it just didn't really do anything for me. It was just kind of an average erotic thriller. It was shot very well. The acting was fine. It just didn't tickle my fancy. It was just kind of a movie, like a total rental. But next up over here is Only God Forgives, starring Ryan Gosling, and it's actually from the same director as the movie Drive. And in this movie, Ryan Gosling plays a fugitive from the USA, hiding out in Bangkok. He starts this underground boxing ring to cover up for his drug dealing that he's doing down in Bangkok. And one night, him and his brother are out partying, and his brother ends up killing an underage hooker in Bangkok, and stirs up all this problem with the police down there, and gets the police on Ryan Gosling's butt. And it's pretty much him trying to stay out of trouble and trying to figure out what he's gonna do now, since his brother just caused all this problems. But that's pretty much the story of this one. It was actually a very well done kind of a thriller film, really visual, but it was actually pretty decent. The gore was pretty cool. It was kind of cool that they have some martial art elements into this film here. On this Blu-ray here, you get a feature-length commentary track on here from the filmmakers. You also get behind the scenes and directors' interviews on this Blu-ray disc here. If you're a fan of Ryan Gosling, definitely get this film. He has a very good performance in here. I always like his his kind of deadpan kind of look. He just kind of looks like, I don't care. I don't care. The way he is in this film. It's just kind of long stares into the camera. Kind of no real expression in his face about all the craziness that's going on around him. This film looks really amazing. The art direction of this film is just awesome. But definitely, guys, check out Only God Forgives. Alright, guys, next up from the Vinegar Syndrome is Night Train to Terror here on Blu-ray. This is the film that came out in 1985, I believe. And it's a horror anthology in the vein of Creep Show and all those kind of things like that. It's pretty much about God and the devil facing off on this train, talking back and forth to each other, going, "What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?" kind of a thing. And then it intercuts to different little stories that go on. In the first short story that you get on here, it's about a guy stuck in a mental asylum, and just trying to figure out if he's really crazy and why is he really there. And there's a couple of other horror shorts on here that are kind of decent. All of them really don't kind of make any sense. You know what I mean? It's just kind of there to be watched. But the music in this thing is just super 80s cheese. Every time one of the horror shorts would end, you would get this band going, "I love you," like a weird 80s song. It was really really stupid. The whole movie didn't really make any sense. But it does have really cool special effects for the time, cool claymation, cool gore effects and things like that. But if you guys love horror anthologies and you guys you like everything horror, definitely give this one a chance. Alright guys, next up from Millennium is Plush here on DVD. This is from the director of Twilight, so when I found that out, I was kind of like, looks like Edward's in the corner of the box over here. But it's about this girl named Hayley. She has this band with her brother called Plush. They have this really big following, and one day her brother passes away, and then the rest of the movie is pretty much her struggling with the death of her brother and her bandmate, and trying to put her career back on track. Because ever since her brother passed away, her career's been going down, going in a downward spiral, and she's just trying to, get her career back on track, with her music. So she wrote this, wrote this album about her brother's passing away and how she feels about it. And she's going on tour, playing these new songs. And she's backstage, and there's really creepy fans back there asking her to do some creepy stuff. Until this one guy comes up to her and kind of gets the creepy fan away from her and takes her off. And they start off this little relationship with each other. And then the movie kind of turns into like a thriller, you know what I mean? But it's really kind of a forgettable kind of a movie. It didn't really stand out to me very well, you know what I mean? It kind of felt like, I don't really know how to explain this one. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't really great either. It's just kind of one of those movies that's just there, You get like a music video on this thing here, but if you guys are a fan of like biographies about music people and stuff like that, it's kind of sort of has that kind of vibe to it, like behind the curtains of following around famous singers and things like that. But it just wasn't very, I don't know, it didn't really entertain me very much, but that's Plush on DVD here. Next up from Lionsgate is Shaquille O'Neal's All-Star Comedy Jam Atlanta. Shaquille O'Neal's been putting out a lot of these stand-up comedy DVDs lately. I believe I have like 3 or 4 other ones in my collection over here. But this one's hosted by Faison Love, who you guys all know, that played the voice of Robin Harris in the movie Bebe's Kids. He was in like a lot of Jon Favreau stuff, like Couples Retreat and Maid and things like that. I've been a big fan of his for years. I always think he's a super funny guy. He's the host of this comedy special here. And the other comics that you get on this special here is like you get Gina Yashere. She's a really funny comic. Her and Faison Love were like the 2 standout ones on this comedy special here. You also get Finesse Mitchell and Red Grant on this comedy special here. It's about 85 minutes long. It's really funny if you guys love stand-up comedy. But the new thing that Shaquille O'Neal has brought to this DVD here for a special feature is called the Comedy Cypher, where all the comedians from this special are like all surrounding each other in like this back alley. Like how rappers would like do rap battles and things, but it's a bunch of comics ripping on each other. You know what I mean? Like, your mama's so fat, she ate the whole bowl of chili. Like, like whatever, like stupid stuff like that, but like talking back and forth to each other, talking smack. And I thought that was a cool special feature they had on here. But if you guys love stand-up comedy, definitely support Shaquille O'Neal and his stand-up comedy DVDs that come out. I really do like them. I have almost all of them already. But I thought it was really funny, so check it out. Alright guys, next up from Kino is He's Way More Famous Than You. This film is pretty much about this lady named Hayley. She's a struggling actress in Hollywood. The only really big role she's ever had in a film was a supporting character role in the movie called The Squid and the Whale. And ever since she's done that movie, she thinks she's like Hollywood's it girl and things. Yet she's a drunk. Her career's kind of going down the tubes. She has this boyfriend that's breaking up with her at the beginning of this film. And she has this idea to use that breakup that she just went through to make it into a feature film. And she's going around to different people she knows in the biz trying to get this movie made. And that's pretty much the basis of this film. Like, she wants to get, Ralph Macchio to play a part in the film, to play her boyfriend in the film. Yet you get people in this movie, Ben Stiller in this film playing a quick little cameo. You get Ralph Macchio in this film, which that's why I really wanted to see it, because I loved Ralph Macchio ever since The Karate Kid and things like that, and The Outsiders. But that's pretty much the story of this film. I thought it was really kind of fun, like a really fun look inside Hollywood and how crazy people can be and how people can really think more of themselves than they actually are, But it was a really funny enjoyable film. My mom didn't like it at all for some reason, but I really dug it because there was a lot of like movie references in here, like little in jokes to different other movies and things that really super nerds will get and really enjoy that aspect of this film. I really liked it. I recommend anybody to go check this one out if you guys see it out there, especially if you guys are like really film nerds. You know what I mean? You'll totally dig it. Alright guys, last up on my update here is the Three Stooges, the complete cartoon collection here on DVD. You get all 156 classic cartoons in this one set here. And the Three Stooges that feature on this set are Larry, Curly Joe, and Moe on here when they were a little bit older. And in each episode you get like a little intro by each Stooge with like a little skit, then the cartoon, and then like a little skit at the end to finish off each episode. And it was actually kind of funny to see the Stooges again in their older age, just to watch this. But the cartoons, the animation style of that time was just kind of like, especially watching it now, it was kind of just like, whew. You know, like they were, as the Stooges would be walking in cartoon form, like the backgrounds would just keep repeating and repeating. Like the animation, you know, of course wasn't like Pixar back in the day, like how it is now. But like just watching the animation now on my big TV was just kind of like, ugh. You know, but it is cool to see the Stooges again. But also on this DVD set here, you get a bonus CD of like 22 songs from the Three Stooges. 12 of them which are Christmas songs, and then the other 12 are like, you know, like Three Stooges singing ABCs to you and stuff like that. Like really like, some like crazy, like not super funny, but just kind of like, what are they doing? You know, they're trying to be like Alvin and the Chipmunks kind of thing in there. But if you guys are a fan of the Three Stooges, I suggest checking this out. Because I've been a fan of the Three Stooges since I was a kid, since my dad showed me old like VHS tapes that he had of the Three Stooges. And even now, I have that complete collection that Sony put out years ago, you know, with all their shorts that they put out. I've been a fan of theirs, so I wanted to get this to complete my Three Stooges collection. But the cartoon parts of it are not that good at all. But it is cool to see the live action Stooges in there. But if you're a fan and you're a completist of the Three Stooges, definitely check out this set right here. Alright guys, that's all I have to talk to you guys about today. Thank you so much for coming by. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below letting me know what your favorite all-time horror movie is. And I'll see you guys all next time. Leave me alone, little girl.